You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 22nd, 2023 meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Water and Sewer District Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I'd like to call the August 22nd meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation.
Hidden. Other meeting.
I'm going to take my break.
Okay.
Could you, yeah.
Please mute your microphones.
Roll call, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's on. Can you hear me? No. Says it's on. John Carr? Not here. Marcella Kunstick? Here. Jerry Jackson? It's not here. Mitch Bishop?
Here.
Delia Zegas? Present. Present. Mark Danielson? Is not here. Amanda Laners? Here. So we have 4 out of 7 for a quorum.
Thank you. We do have an addition to add to the agenda under Hudson Saucony Project, letter I, grinder station location guidelines. I guess I need a motion to approve the addition.
I'm making the motion to approve the addition. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Then moving on, approval minutes. You should have July 20th meeting minutes in your packet. I'd entertain a motion if everybody has reviewed and.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. That brings us to public comments.
Well, we got another meeting minutes too for August 1st, the bid opening.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the bid opening.
Yes.
Also, we have a meeting minutes. There was a bid opening for, was that the pre-selection? No, that was the pressure,
That was the
filter
pressure,
replacement
yep.
project.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody received those minutes? I entertain a motion to approval, if you have.
That was for DA Dodd, correct?
Michelle.
We had two
There was 2 bids. And that
bids.
Peerless. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 bids that were opened, and then we'll discuss that further.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. That brings us to public comment. Anybody wishing to speak, please state their name, address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Anybody in this room?
Georgette Joyce.
Oh, just a second, Joyce.
Just a second.
Go ahead.
My name is Tim
Project
Grieve. I live at 5589 East Wawasee Trail, Saucony Lake. I'm glad to see they're having the meeting on the 26th. I just hope that this shows that you will continue being open and let people know stuff before it happens. This is the only issue that I have, is that this stuff is going on and people are not being made aware of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else in the meeting room? Seeing anybody on Zoom?
Georgette Joyce.
Go ahead, Georgette.
7299 East Hudson, Point Lane, New Carlisle. So I had a JPR engineer come out on Friday to my property to figure out where to put the grinder station And it was pretty disturbing to understand that, I had budgeted between $5,000 and I don't know, $7,000 for this at the end of the day. And to get the grinder onto my property because of the length of where I'm at, it's 170 feet, and I'm going to eat over $7,000 easily just to get the grinder, and that doesn't even include the hookup. And I know you're trying to keep the cost down by only doing like 10, 20 feet, whatever it is you decided. But this is just, I'm dying here. I'm a retired person, and please don't suggest financing because it's still a bill to pay. I think you need to consider special situations where you can give more help to a property owner, because that dollar amount doesn't even include my hookup from the house to the grinder. So this is pretty painful, and I have a big lot. I could live with septics for a long time, and I've been a big supporter of the sewers. I think it's the right thing to go, way to go, but there's some really heavy burden you're going to be putting on certain properties owners, and I think you need to consider that and figure out how to help. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on Zoom? Hearing nobody. Moving on. That brings us to reports. Steve, claims and finance.
Okay, in your packet you have financials for the 3 sub-districts through July 31st. Starting with Hudson Saugony, total ending cash balance $329,336.87. Interest income for the month was $13,078. Let's see here. We wrote reimbursements back from the toll road to Hudson Saugony for the 2-month period that we were out of checks for toll road. Paid some engineering, paid financial advisor, and then there were some reimbursables also from the toll road that were in the disbursement side. Of that $3,029,000, $2,811,000 is with the Hoosier Fund, and the remainder of $217,000 and change is with the Horizon Bank checking. For Rolling Prairie at 7/31, total fund balance is $150,319.27. Receipts for the month $10,609. Operating disbursements $4,260. Interest income $259. Loan principal to the county $1,830. Of that $150,000, $128,620 is in the operation and maintenance fund. $3,966 in the debt service reserve, and $17,732 in the bond and interest account. For toll road, ending cash balance 7/31, $457,137.73. We did get one receipt from the toll road, $26,960. Disbursements for the month $52,299. Interest income $1,872. Of the $457,000, $118,741 is in Horizon Bank checking, and the remainder of $338,396 is in the Hoosier Fund. We also have claims totaling $115,350.19. Broken down by the 3 districts there. We have the usual suspects, and then we have a couple of claims related to the Hudson Saugony project. And then we've also got an additional JPR billing for the pressure filter, and a couple of past overdue checks from January that somehow got overlooked by me that we're adding for JPR as well.
Steve, on the ones we don't have anything in there for Indiana Michigan Power, should we put something in, or are we just gonna wait?
Right. So when I went
We
back
paid
and looked
couple.
through those accounts, it looks like we're ahead.
Okay,
We had credits on those, and those
If we-
credits should pretty much cover, I think, the month. If not, it'll be pretty close.
okay.
So the ones that I've added in here are just the ones that I think will have some type of balance once we get
Okay,
the invoices in.
I can look at it once we get them too, and we can do another thing this month if we have to. We know.
Well, you, okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims at this time.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You can sign these.
Moving on, reports. Ashbury, I believe I saw Chris.
Yes, I'm here.
Yep.
I've really only got two things as far as toll road goes. One is we did have an exceedance on the solid side. It's in the report. I've addressed the exceedance by continuing to waste more frequently and more often. That should fix that issue. The other issue is at the drinking water plant. We have an automatic chlorine analyzer, and that's been on and off here for a couple months, and I've been trying to contact the manufacturer, because the instructions say that only the manufacturer can do maintenance on it. And I finally went to the people that they bought the equipment from, Gas Voda. And so I've got a contact now that he's given me. And one of the things he said to me, which is a little bit concerning, is that the company that produced these went out of business during COVID. But there are parts out there, so hopefully we can get this thing fixed and back online.
You said it was a chlorine analyzer?
Yes, it continuously monitors chlorine 24 hours a day. Takes a analysis every 20 minutes or something like that, and that's something that the state wants you to have if you're not there on the weekends.
Right.
So while this thing is down, I'm going to start going over there Saturday and Sunday and getting a chlorine residual to satisfy the state requirements.
Is somebody coming to check it?
Pardon me?
Is somebody coming to check? Or do we have somebody coming out to?
I mean, yes, I'm in the process of contacting the person that could possibly repair it.
Okay.
And I don't think it'll be something that they come out and do. It's probably something I'll have to take down and then ship it back to them.
Wow.
I wonder if Jerry would have any contacts or information. Have you talked with
This is
Jerry, Chris?
I have not talked to Jerry. I know that they use a different company. They use a hot meter.
Okay.
So I know it's something different. This is something that I don't know who was. I think maybe it was the toll road at the time that chose the equipment. I think, but like I said, this is the first time I've had any kind of experience with a continuous chlorine analyzer.
Okay.
So I'll keep more or less. Once I find some information out, I'll keep Jennifer up to date.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I think from last month, Chris, you were gonna do and purchase a new battery backup.
Right. That hasn't happened yet, but I'm still planning to do that.
Okay.
Does that conclude your report, Chris?
That it concludes my report. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. GPR, Jennifer, regarding customer connection and reimbursement program.
Yep. We have nothing really more on the billing, collections, liens information than what I already provided to you. I do have a couple of situations with homeowners that have asked for reimbursement, and I need to review those with you. I'm not gonna do the name or address or anything, but basically, I have one property owner that connected after the deadline, is asking for the reimbursement. This individual indicates that she had no information or idea about it until she got the final letter in May.
How many? There's been what, 4 different letters that
Yeah.
gone out?
Agreed. And so I don't know how she could have got the last one but not got any of the others. And she did connect in July, the very end of July. And so I guess I need to know, does the board wish to grant that one or not?
When was our deadline?
July 1st for connections, and that was after you had already extended it
Right.
4 to 5 different times, and August 1st for the paperwork. So I guess I need to take these on a base by base, because I have,
There's another one. There's 2, you said?
there's another one, and then I have another situation too. So I have 4 different properties that I'm going to ask you about.
I think we need to probably hear them all, right, at one time?
Yeah.
And let's decide.
Okay,
I was
so
thinking that, yeah.
that's fine. The second one is a lady that purchased the property in the middle of July,
Right.
and the previous owner did not get connected, and this property owner had the property connected within 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
But obviously she had no information
Right.
previous to this, and she just did it as soon as she bought the property, which was done within 3 weeks. And so she's asking
For reimbursement?
if she can have the reimbursement. That situation, I think, is definitely different because she purchased the property after the deadline connection.
Yep.
And then,
Agreed.
and then she had it literally connected within 3 weeks. So I have a hard time not believing, but understanding when the property owners are saying they couldn't get anyone.
Right.
I mean, this new owner got it done within 3 weeks. And then I have 2 property owners, the same situation for both. They did it all, turned in their paperwork, I've had it. They did their own connections. Okay, so they provided the receipts for all the parts, the septic pump, all of that, but it doesn't come up to $1,000. So they're asking, can we get the full $1,000? And it, because
Labor.
they took, like on the form, they wrote 2 men, 9 hours, $588 at $34. Now,
Oh, for their individual
It's-
labor. What do they pay for the materials?
I have it here.
Yeah.
Can you do that? One was 520,
Gas inspection, right?
and the other one I'm almost thinking is close to the $1,000, but not quite. I have to double check some of the parts he sent me, make sure it was on his, because if I go with what he sent me, he's over 1,000 and he's fine. It's just the one property owner and their father son, so they kind of did it together. So I guess my question is, do you guys are we allowing that or are we not?
Inspected?
Yeah. I mean,
Yep, everything's inspected and done.
Yeah.
They could do it themselves. I mean, you give them the materials, what they need, and they purchase them and they do it themselves. So say,
Yes,
I'm okay with that. Pass inspection, and
Definitely.
So you're good with both of them okay, now, when we submit this to the state, just know, I don't know if they will approve that.
Well,
So that's
fine.
why I'm bringing it to you guys.
leave it to the state to turn it down then. That's how I look at it.
But we need to pay them first.
Right, Jennifer.
Submit everything.
Yeah.
So if you guys, I think we should probably have motions on this to know how we want to do this. So those two, you're fine with me giving them the full $1,000.
And the materials add up to what? I mean, for both of them combined, let's just say.
Well, I can't really do it combined because it's on a property base.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, we're gonna be out how much if the state doesn't cover?
$479 on one property, and the other property, I have to double check his parts because he's close to 1,000. I would say it's gonna be the same amount, if not less.
So
Okay,
the state's not reviewing these individual invoices.
okay,
That's.
Yes, they are.
okay.
Yeah, when I submit the SRF disbursements to get the district paid back, they review and I have to send in certain things for every single one of these.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jennifer,
Looked up, man.
is the state aware of the deadlines that the board imposed?
No, because, I mean, they will be.
Turn.
That's what we're trying to get down to now.
Well, what I mean is, would one of the reasons, not so much the people who did their own work, but is there a potential that the state says,
No,
look, if you guys choose to reimburse them as a board, that's your money,
no,
but we see the deadline was July 1st. That's not going to happen.
no.
Okay.
And have you, just out of curiosity, has anybody else submitted anything after, like in the last 30 days?
Just these two
So
properties.
these came in.
No, not the two that did their own connection. They were on time, did all their paperwork. They're fine.
Okay.
My question there was,
They did the work themselves.
they did the work themselves. Can they still get the full 1,000, not just the parts? So
But the
the
people who
other
you're
two-
asking, did they submit in July or was it in August? Do you remember by chance?
I think it's right at the beginning of August, or the very end of July. Either way, the connection was after our final.
No, I
deadline.
understand. The board certainly votes the way they want to vote. My only concern would be somebody who then submits a request tomorrow or the next day. I mean, if there's been a 30-day gap, then you can kind of say, look, 30 days have gone by. These were really the last tricklers.
Right.
No one's asking anymore. Then there's really no risk that you're going to get some flurry of requests in late August, early September.
Because I do show that people were inspected and did not ask for reimbursement,
Okay.
and I don't know what that was, but just so you're aware of that.
Well, I think the board's discussed. We do. Do I have a motion on these 4 properties?
I'm feeling like we should just approve them as a whole, as a bulk. The last 4, the final 4, this is it. The deadline is here.
I agree.
This is it.
Okay, so
I mean, that's just.
that's your
but-
motion to approve the 4, and you agree. So
I'll second.
you second. All in favor?
I.
Hi.
Aye. That moves on to remaining funds. Engineering committee.
Hey guys, regarding the phase 2 project update and remaining funds, just to bring you guys all up to speed and remind you, at the end of the Rolling Prairie phase 2 project, we had about $152,000 in remaining grant funds on the project. And back then, prior to the customer connection period, we had made some decisions about what to do with said money, because we're allowed to request use of that from the SRF prior to the finalization of the project. And what we came up with were, we had basically had 3 line items on that. One of them was installation of mixed flush valves at the 2 lift stations at Hatfield and 350 East. That totaled about $9,000 in parts and labor. Then we had the customer connection program and then the administration of the construction connection program. So there were a total of 117 properties in phase 2 that were eligible for reimbursement. And to date, approximately 70 of them have requested or received reimbursement. That leaves roughly $48,000 left of remaining funds. Another item is the program administration. None of that time, that was a $25,000 item. None of that time has been requested for reimbursement by the district board yet. So that money could also be eligible to be used for additional remaining funds if the board chose to do so. The board could also just choose to reimburse Jennifer's time for that program. So we're looking at somewhere between $48,000 and $73,000 in remaining funds, depending on what the board chooses to do with program administration. After looking at this, I think that this topic, because these funds are required by the SRF to be used for improvements for district operations and things of that nature, that this topic be addressed by the engineering committee. We hold a special engineering committee meeting in order to kind of discuss what to do with some of these funds. What do you guys think?
I think it's a good idea.
That's fine, Dan.
Would replacing that chlorine tester be eligible for this?
So I'd have to ask the SRF about that because it's part of the water system, but it's also part of the district's overall system. So I could kind of see it going both ways.
Great idea.
Yeah. Steve and I were over here talking about it, and we thought, we might want to compare the cost of a new chlorine analyzer to replacing the existing one and have it replaced with a unit that, in a few years down the road, you're going to worry about replacement parts for it anyway.
Yeah, something we have right to repair, that's,
Could be problematic. All right. Yeah, can we discuss it in detail more so like with an engineering
Yeah,
type of meeting? Probably?
that's the idea.
We'll just schedule an engineering committee meeting to discuss.
Yeah.
All right.
With the water project is the waste, the
Microphone.
Yeah.
Sorry, they need you in the microphone.
Steve Henson with JPR. The funds that were allocated for Rolling Prairie come out of a specific fund for wastewater projects. They have a different set of funds for water projects. So I'm not sure if they would be able to transfer one over to the other, but we'll ask and see if it's a possibility.
It would also be good to know how much it's going to cost anyway, right? If we have to replace this
Sure.
Yeah.
instead of repairing all the time or trying to find parts.
Yeah, repairing an obsolete piece of equipment may
Right.
not be the best
Right.
long term.
Thanks. Okay.
And that's all I've got on phase 2 update, so we can discuss that further at the next engineering committee meeting and report back to the board in September what we discuss.
Okay.
Moving on to Hudson Saugony project, if that's all right.
That's all right.
All right. You have the attached project update memo in your board packets. Just a quick rundown for that. Last month, I introduced the 2 scenarios of projects, where one of which was a 5-contract sort of mega project where the whole thing gets built out in one contracting period, and the other being broken into 3 phases. So I've kind of broken out project schedule to reflect scenario 2 phase 1. So what that's indicating is that we would complete design of the Saugony Lake system next month and submit it for permits. Looking at sending out bids in October and receiving them in November of this year, with project closing on that first phase to be in February of next year. Next item on here, we have equipment pre-selection. So I have attached an equipment pre-selection recommendation memo also to the board packets you guys should see. So just to recap, we requested equipment pre-selection packages for 11 different items. Those were grinder stations, air release valves, flow meters, chemical feed systems, pump station pumps and controls, electrical generators, the packaged wastewater plant equipment, mechanical screening, sludge dewatering equipment, UV disinfection, and the SCADA system. And we ended up receiving 18 different packages. from different manufacturers and vendors on those different items. We did not receive any proposals for chemical feed or for SCADA. The vendors didn't submit any packages on those, but on other ones we received several. Like we received 5, for example, on UV. So if you continue reviewing the memo, attached to it are all of the scoring results for all of these different pieces of equipment. We opened up each package in the engineering committee and reviewed each one and scored them. And what we came up with was the following. We recommend that the district board issue pre-selection for each of the following manufacturers and vendors for the following equipment in the table located in the memo. For grinder pump station equipment types 1 and 2, those are the grinder stations that are serving single family homes for the most part. We recommend Environment 1 and Covalent for that. Environment 1's the manufacturer of the equipment, Covalent's the vendor representative. For type 3 and 4 grinder station equipment, that would be for grinder stations serving commercial connections, industrial connections, schools, things of that nature. We recommend Crane Pumps and Gasvoda and Associates. For air release valve equipment, we recommend ARI, repped by Strafer Pump and Supply. For flow meters, we recommend Siemens, repped by Franke Environmental Systems. For pump station pumps and controls, we recommend Flight Pumps, repped by BL Anderson. Standby electrical generators, we recommend Generac, represented by Evapar. Package wastewater treatment plant equipment, we recommend Aeromod, repped by H&T Systems. For mechanical screening equipment, we recommend Duperon, repped by Dryden Equipment. Sludge dewatering, we recommend Blue River Technologies, represented by themselves. And UV disinfection, we recommend Trojan Technologies, repped by HP Thompson. In this, I've stated, because no proposals were selected for chemical feed or SCADA, that equipment's not going to be pre-selected and would just become part of the regular bid package. So that stuff would just be competitively bid out with the rest of the project. I should note that all of the above provided appropriate bid bonds or certified checks in the amount of 5% of the total. We are holding on to those. If you would like to hold on to those, we can bring them to you and supply them for you to hang on to. Otherwise, if something comes up, we've got it on hand.
Okay.
And those will be held as security by the district until the general contractors have entered into a formal agreement with the district. So that being said, the engineering committee scoring team is requesting the board formalize the selection process by acting on the following. 1, approve the equipment selection recommendations presented in the above table as I just read out. Authorize the district engineer and staff to notify the selected vendors in writing of the selection results, and authorize the engineer and district staff to notify the vendors and manufacturers that weren't selected of the selection results and return their bid bonds and checks.
Make the motion.
I hear a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Please do.
Awesome. Do you guys have any questions about equipment pre-selection?
No.
No?
It was good meetings.
Thank you.
They're a little long. All right, so to update you guys on design process, as stated previously, we've established all wastewater plant flows and loadings and are currently working on plan set and spec productions. Now that we have equipment pre-selection done, we can start working on final design of that. We now have some equipment that we can design around, so that'll start to take shape here pretty quickly. On the collection system side of things, hydraulic modeling of all systems are complete, and preliminary plan and profile drawings have been drafted. We are currently doing a review of Saugony Lake alignments and designing profiles in order to be able to meet that permit submittal timeline in September. I have gotten note from Terracon that geotech services are going to be completed by roughly the end of August. So next week they'll be wrapping up the last of the soil borings and getting the borings along the toll road right of way. And we'll be getting report results from that we'll include in our bid package for general contractors' knowledge. Update on land acquisition. With grinder station easements, packages have been sent out to all property owners, and we've been currently in the process of scheduling meetings with these property owners on a regular weekly basis. Just as a reminder, we are going to be holding 2 easement open houses this week. The first of which is going to be on Thursday, August 24th from 5 p.m. to, I says 8 p.m. I think it's 9 p.m., correct?
Well, it's 5 to 8 Central.
Oh, it is. Okay.
6 to 9 Eastern.
Gotcha. And that's going to be held at Monroe's Crossing. And another one on Saturday morning, August 26th, from 9 a.m. to noon at Saugony Lake Conservation Club. And regarding mainline easements and fee simple pump station sites, we're still conducting right-of-way research and preparing boundary descriptions and easement and market valuation packages to go to those property owners.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
Thank you, Dan.
We move on then to grinder station location guidelines, the additional item added to today's agenda.
Thank you.
Steve?
Just a couple of notes adding on to what Dan mentioned about the site visits. So we've probably done a dozen or so site visits so far. It's been going well. One of the things we try to do when we leave with that property owner, we take some forms that we sketch in an agreed upon location of the grinder station. And we have asked them to sign that as well. Again, it's still preliminary and things can change, but we just want to make sure we have a good, clear understanding of where it's going. But we're also sharing with those property owners when that grinder station location is such to a point where it's beyond what we have said we're going to include in the project costs. We're identifying an estimated cost of what that might be to the property owners. And I believe Georgette, I met with her last Friday and we talked through that. And there are some properties on there where the homes and septics are 150 feet, 200 feet away from the roadway. You know, I think part of this policy was, as we discussed it with the engineering committee and the board approved, was trying to be fair to everybody. So we go in a certain distance and, you know, it's not really the district's responsibility on how a property was developed or how far off the road it sits, that type of thing. So that was kind of the background of that. And it's also just controlling costs because, you know, we know the longer the laterals we have, the higher the project cost is. So just wanted to discuss that a bit.
Appreciate that.
Then we have basically just to hand out to you as a review, this grinder station policy. I believe it was in the board packets.
Yep.
Yeah.
I handed it to him today.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Anything in blue is something that we've updated. And what we've tried to do is just to provide some more details to remove any unclear issues that might come up. All right. And I wasn't going to take a lot of time in our meeting today. What our thoughts were, I'll get it out here to you today. We'll have an engineering committee meeting to go through it in detail and come back next month with some formal recommendations to proceed. So for instance, we go in 10 feet into a property line, we say, in many cases, there's a large tree right there. Well, unfortunately, this project isn't a tree removal project, right? So, especially if it's like a shared on a property line, we don't think the project should probably be talking about removing trees to put a grinder station in, right? We can, but that'd have to be, you know, detailed out. And so what we said in there, any tree that's larger than a 2-inch caliper at 4 foot above ground would be the property owner's responsible. If they want the grinder station there and a tree's within our excavation zone, then the property owner would be responsible for removing that tree. Anything 2 inches and smaller, it's almost insignificant for a contractor to go when he's doing his excavation just to dig those out as he's moving things. And then also we're just talking a little bit more clear about if somebody wants a grinder station located in what we call a landscaped area, a non-lawn area, you know, a landscape bed. What our contractor will do is remove the plants. He'll excavate those out, set those aside, put the grinder station in, backfill with structure backfill, topsoil on top, and then it'd be the homeowner's responsibility to re-landscape around that again. So, and that would be things like even moving the landscape edging, you know, we'll cut that neatly where we need to install the grinder, and then the homeowner would be responsible for reinstalling it. We're just trying to lay out some of these things so there's no unclarity once we get into construction about who's doing
I
it.
have a question about the tree example. So
Yes.
if it's a really giant tree
Yeah.
and they don't want to remove it,
Right.
is there any option to go around?
Well, normally, let's say it's on a property line and it's a shared grinder. Normally, we would drill beside it or under it. Remember, we're usually going in about 5 feet below ground. Well, we can't guarantee every tree is going to not have any issues. Typically, we don't see an issue with that when we're at that depth. But that's where if we go to miss that tree, then that would be a cost put on the property owner for the extended pressure sewer lateral line. That's how we have these guidelines written right now.
Okay, thank you.
And then one other key thing that I wanted to bring up, to incentivize shared grinders wherever possible, because shared grinders will help reduce our costs more than anything else we can do. For instance, if we have 2 properties side by side, if we put a single grinder in for each, that's about $15,000 each. So total of 30. If I can put a shared in, I'm only going to spend about $16,000. The shared grinder pump is almost the same unit, only costs about $1,000 more. So what we're thinking, what we've drafted up in here is perhaps to help incentivize that, instead of just going 10 feet in for a shared grinder, we would go up to 50 feet back. That would, in a lot of cases, help reduce those property owners' cost to connect, and also help eliminate some of this, oh, we got to remove a tree or whatever to get this out of here. So it's something we want to think about, and we'll discuss in more detail. Okay. But as these meetings are happening, we expect them to continue through the end of the year at least. We'll want to kind of get these finalized so we can be presenting the same story to everybody we meet with.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Let's see, where are we here? That brings us, I guess, to new business.
Thank you.
Yes, I guess that's me again. So I'll just stay right here.
Yeah. The award of the contract for pressure filter replacement.
Yes. In your packet, you will see the first item under this is the engineer's recommendation. So I just wanted to quickly summarize what's happened. If you recall, we went out for quotations, not bids, for the filter replacement because of the estimated costs. We could fall under the quotation process. We requested quotes from 5 different firms. You'll see that: Peerless, D.A. Dodd, Ortman Drilling, Mason Engineering and Construction, and Shambaugh & Sons. And you can see the pricing submitted. We got pricing back, quotes received from Peerless Midwest for $84,250, D.A. Dodd $53,660, Ortman did not submit, Mason did not submit, and Shambaugh didn't even want to receive the RFQ when we called them. The primary difference between the two, Peerless had proposed a completion date of November 20th. D.A. Dodd had proposed a completion date end of January. So about a 2-month time frame. We did do a pretty detailed interview with D.A. Dodd. They're located locally in Rolling Prairie. We reviewed their bid package in detail with them.
I can come after my opera class. Does that work? Or do
They,
you-
Totally.
lost my train.
Aqua class.
They seem to have a full understanding of the scope. They've done some pressure filter replacements before. They have a qualified subcontractor that's helping them with the filter media removal and replacement. And they have a firm price on the pressure vessel itself that's coming in. They're saying that's their biggest time frame is waiting for that to be manufactured. So from when they get formal approval, about a 16 to 20 week process. Could be a little shorter than that perhaps, but I think they're being a little conservative right now. They said if it does come in early, they have capacity that they could get that filter installed, because they're talking probably a total of about 1 week of time to put this in. It's done kind of in stages over the time.
There's no issue waiting the 2 months.
Well, we're going to be waiting until at least the soonest we would get this is end of November. And I believe Chris, we even talked to Chris about this. Chris can speak up if he wants, but what I recall Chris saying is they're getting along just fine right now, still well within their water quality limits. Chris, do you have any comments on filter replacement being done in November versus January?
Yeah, I don't think there are any issues with that. I've just increased the frequency of backwashing the filters. The well pumps pump in the water at a certain speed, and regardless, the three are handling the amount of water being pushed through. So I don't think there's any issues on waiting an additional 3 months, 6 months.
2 months. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
And we'd also met with DA-DOT on site prior to their bid to go over the scope of work with them as well.
All right.
So with that, JAPR is recommending the district take action to accept the engineer's recommendations and award the contract to DA-DOT in the amount of $53,660.
Motion to approve.
I got a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then whether, I don't know if this needs a separate motion, we'd ask also then today that you would authorize Mitch to sign the contract as well as the notice to proceed to DA-DOT.
Need a motion for that? I don't think you need a motion for that.
Doesn't hurt. Go ahead and make a separate motion.
I make a motion for Mitch to sign all paperwork.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Aye.
Sign away, Mitch, sign away.
All right.
Okay, that's all I have.
Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
We'll get rolling on this.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
I did.
Sarah, thank you.
Moving on. Under new business, next bullet point, we got our next meeting discussion, September 26th. Oh, thank you. Is everybody okay with this?
Yep.
Sounds good. Very good.
I won't be here. I have a conference that week.
Amanda's
But that's
not gonna be
okay.
here.
Just FYI. You won't.
Take note. Then we go to pre-agenda meeting,
Yep, 19th.
19th, 9 a.m. I'm not on that one, so I'm good. How about everybody else okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Dismissed lawsuit. I don't know if there's anything
Nope.
to add to that.
We're out.
Okay, that says enough.
Yep.
Great.
Okay. Old business. There's something. I would love to get rid of all these stacks of papers. So
Yes.
laptops and boardable software.
I
We
didn't bring them today for you four, but I have them.
Okay.
If, one of the other things is we didn't discuss, are any of you board members planning on to attend the meeting Thursday night or Saturday morning?
I'm gonna try to make Saturday morning.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I was just gonna bring them if anybody was attending, otherwise I'll start with the engineering committee and then I might try to meet up individually with you prior to the next meeting to
Okay.
get those handed out. So we can start using them And if everybody hasn't accepted the invite, please do that.
What invite?
The boardable docs and getting.
Okay,
For the boardable software, Delia, I think you already did.
okay.
I thought you were in there.
That.
Okay, we have one more thing to add.
Go ahead, Steve.
Just wanted to, a quick reminder on our meetings this Thursday and Saturday. It's not a formal presentation. These are intended to be workshops where people can come in. We'll have 4 engineering stations and 2 stations for easement signing and notarizations, where they can come in, ask us questions one-on-one, and we can still schedule site visits with people as well, but it's just a chance for them to come down and ask us questions one-on-one about their property specifically or the project in general. But it's not going to be a formal, we present for 30 minutes or anything like that.
Okay.
Right. And so if an individual wanted a special site meeting, you would honor that and set that up separate.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Come on site, discuss their specific question.
Yes, our easement package is identified one specific person to call at JPR who's handling the coordination of the site visits, and that's how we've been handling that.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, thanks.
Sharon. Rate ordinance.
Rate ordinance, I have a draft prepared and I just need to clean it up a little bit, get it to Barry, and then I think we're gonna take that to, I don't know if we want the engineering committee or we want the executive committee.
Who's on the executive committee? Because I want Jerry's input, I think.
Well, we can send it to all board
True.
members, that's
That's
fine, it's not gonna be, I think it's.
Probably engineering more than executive, I would think.
Yeah.
Engineering's pretty busy.
That's very true.
Who's engineering? It's Mitch.
Yeah,
Mitch, Jerry, and John.
Okay.
And I think executive is Marcella, John, and
Jerry? Is it Jerry?
Or Mitch.
Or you?
It might be me.
I was thinking Mitch.
Yeah. I might be slacking a little bit on that word.
Either way, I'll get the draft emailed to everybody and we can put it on there. But I think, we need to do whoever has the most time to actually look at it too.
Yeah, I would say before you send it to the whole board, send it to Steve and I, because Steve's, we need him for kind of the numbers issue in terms of, like as a coach house, you know what I mean? There's some of that kind of monetary
Somewhat,
stuff.
but that should also be explained to the board, their options on that one, and then they would determine how they want to do that,
As far as the rates and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fantastic.
No page 2 today, so that's good.
Yes, it's all on one.
If that takes care of everything, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second. Oh, do I need to make a motion?
Who is the motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconds.
There you go. All in favor?
There you go.
Aye.